For 3 years, the world moved forward without noticing her, while she learned how to survive on almost nothing. No steady income, no comfortable home, no safety net, and often no certainty that tomorrow would be any kinder than today. Her name was rarely spoken, her story never written, and yet her existence was a quiet rebellion against the idea that survival requires abundance. She was an ordinary woman in an ordinary city, but her circumstances forced her into an extraordinary test of endurance, patience, and inner strength. It began with a collapse that happened slowly and then all at once. A job lost during a downsizing that promised fairness but delivered indifference. A relationship that ended not with shouting or drama, but with silence and closed doors. Rent that kept rising while opportunities kept shrinking. 1 month she used her savings, convinced it was temporary. The next month she sold small belongings, telling herself it was practical. By the 3rd month, she realized she was no longer getting through a rough phase. She was surviving. Her days started early, not because she had somewhere to go, but because sleeping too long made hunger louder. She learned that hunger had stages. At first it was sharp and demanding, then irritating and distracting, and eventually it became a dull, constant presence, like background noise. She drank water slowly, teaching herself how to trick her body into feeling full. She learned which public places allowed you to sit without being questioned, and which ones required you to look busy, even if you weren't. Food became a strategy instead of a pleasure. She discovered which grocery stores discounted items just before closing, which bakeries threw away bread at night, and which days local charities quietly left boxes outside without asking questions. Pride was one of the first things she had to let go. Not all at once, but in pieces. The first time she accepted free food, her hands trembled. The 10th time, she felt gratitude. The 100th time, she felt nothing at all except relief. Winter was the hardest. Cold has a way of magnifying every problem. It makes you feel smaller, weaker, and more visible at the same time. She layered clothes she already owned because buying new ones was impossible. At night, she wrapped herself tightly and imagined warmth like a memory, replaying summers from years ago. Sometimes she counted her breaths just to distract herself from the ache in her bones. She learned how to sleep lightly, always aware of her surroundings, always prepared to move. People passed her every day without knowing her story. Some avoided eye contact. Some stared too long. A few smiled politely. She realized that invisibility was a strange gift. When people don't see you, they don't ask questions. They don't judge. They don't interfere. But invisibility also eats at you. There were days she wondered if she still existed in the same world as everyone else or if she had slipped into a quieter version of reality, where survival replaced living. There were moments when hope tried to leave her completely. Like the time she made it to the final interview for a job she desperately needed, only to receive a polite rejection email the next day. Or the night she became sick and realized she had no one to call, no place to go, and no money for medicine. In those moments, despair felt logical. It made sense to give up. And yet, something stubborn inside her refused to stop. She began to measure time differently. Not in weeks or months, but in small victories. A day without hunger pains. A kind word from a stranger. A free book from a public library that allowed her mind to escape when her body couldn't. She discovered that the human spirit doesn't need much to keep going, just a reason, even a fragile one. Over time, she became resourceful in ways she never imagined. She learned how to repair torn clothes with borrowed needles. She learned how to stretch a single meal into 2 days. She learned which emotions drained her energy and which ones fueled her. Anger, she found, was exhausting. Gratitude, even for the smallest things, gave her strength. She stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What can I do with what I have today?" There were people who helped her, though most never knew the impact they made. A cafe owner who let her sit inside during cold mornings without buying anything. A stranger who left extra change on a bench. A librarian who greeted her warmly every day, reminding her that she was still part of the world. These moments didn't change her situation, but they changed her ability to endure it. As the months turned into years, she noticed something unexpected. She was no longer the same person who had first fallen into hardship. She was calmer, more patient, less attached to things that once seemed essential. She understood the difference between comfort and necessity. She learned that dignity is not tied to wealth, and worth is not measured by productivity. The third year was different. Not easier, but different. She felt a quiet confidence in her ability to survive. She had done it before. She could do it again. When a small opportunity finally came, a temporary job that paid just enough to breathe again, she took it without hesitation. It wasn't a miracle. It didn't fix everything overnight. But it was a door, and she had learned to walk through doors even when they were only slightly open. When stability slowly returned, she carried her experiences with her. She never forgot what it felt like to count coins, to feel invisible, to survive on almost nothing. It changed how she saw the world and the people in it. She noticed struggle in others more quickly. She judged less. She listened more. Her story is not about suffering alone. It is about resilience built quietly, without applause. It is about a woman who survived not because she was fearless, but because she kept going even when fear was constant. For 3 years, she lived on almost nothing, and in doing so, discovered something powerful. That the human spirit, when pushed to its limits, can adapt, endure, and survive in ways that statistics and assumptions can never fully explain. And even now, long after those years have passed, she remembers them not with bitterness, but with respect. Because they taught her that survival is not just about resources. It is about resilience, awareness, and the quiet decision, made every single day, to continue.